Hillary Rodham Clinton, what happened? Delve into the insightful account of Hillary Rodham Clinton as she takes you on an emotional journey through her shocking defeat in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. In her intimate memoir, What Happened, she candidly reflects on some crucial aspects like coping with defeat, combating sexism and misogyny in politics, working on practical policies, and dealing with the email scandal. Unraveling the events and decisions leading to the election night, Clinton not only highlights her regrets but also shares thoughts on the vital role of women in politics and the powerful influence wielded by special interest groups like the National Rifle Association.
Overcoming defeat, lessons from Hillary Clinton's election loss. In What Happened, Hillary Rodham Clinton relives the day of her defeat in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. It was a tough loss, but instead of turning cynical, she learned that it's essential to stay connected with friends and to keep motivated. Clinton also emphasized the importance of organizing an Irish wake, a celebration of life to chase away the sadness. Through it all, Clinton kept her anger under control, not letting it take over. She also kept busy by writing thank you letters to her campaign staff and signing them up for continued health insurance coverage. Above all, Clinton learned that life goes on, even after a crushing electoral defeat. Clinton's true motivation. Clinton's campaign lacked an emphasis on her qualifications and achievements. However, her true motivation was to be an effective president who was on the side of working people. Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign was criticized for not highlighting her qualifications and reasons for running. Some believed that she wanted to be president simply because she felt entitled. However, Clinton's true motivation for running was because she believed she had the skills and ability to be a successful president. Clinton has never been one to boast about herself, preferring to focus on her policies and ways to improve the government. When she launched her campaign, she discovered that although people knew her name, they were unfamiliar with her accomplishments and story. Consequently, Clinton intended to seek reintroduction to voters and spotlight her long record of public service. In law school, she was one of only 27 women who became an advocate for human rights as a defender. Since then, she has prioritized standing up for those less fortunate who require a voice in government. Despite her efforts, Clinton faced a challenging 2016 election marred by misinformation and manipulations. However, her true motivation for running was anchored in being an effective president who worked towards the good of the working people. Clinton's campaign may have lacked an emphasis on her qualifications and achievements, but her passion for public service and her belief in her capabilities are a testimony to her genuine intent. Women in politics. Despite the sexism and misogyny in politics, more women need to enter the political arena to make a change. Clinton's story as a successful woman in a male-dominated profession sheds light on this issue. Although women encounter double standards and cruelty, being a voice for the underrepresented is a thrilling experience that never gets old. It is important for women to be heard and experience this themselves to ensure that they have control over their reproductive rights. Fighting against NRA. Hillary Clinton's campaign against the National Rifle Association, NRA, was influenced by the Mothers of the Movement, a group of African American women who lost their children to police or gun violence. The group wants stricter gun laws, a message that resonated with Clinton. While many Americans view gun ownership as a tradition protected by the Second Amendment, Clinton's goal is to make it harder for people with bad intentions to obtain firearms, not to ban them altogether. Nonetheless, the NRA's power is formidable. The organization helped defeat Al Gore in the 2000 election and prevented a bill aimed at preventing people on the federal no-fly list from buying guns. Despite the passion on both sides of the gun debate, the fear of the NRA has deterred many politicians from standing up to the powerful lobby. Clinton versus Sanders, Idealism versus Realism. The difference between Donald Trump's main opponents in the 2016 presidential election was their approach to policy details. Clinton believed in crafting realistic policies that could be funded and put into action, while Sanders wanted big, exciting goals that may need more work before they can be fully realized. Clinton is recognized as a policy wonk, whereas Sanders wanted to make college education free for every citizen, even though the details of such a plan were unclear, including how much it was going to cost the middle class in raised taxes. Although Clinton represented the status quo, her platform was more progressive than Barack Obama's ever was. However, she now acknowledges that her campaign could have benefited from the inclusion of more exciting ideas that look to the future, like the Alaska for America idea she almost rolled out. Clinton's regrets. Clinton's campaign blunder in 2016 when she said, "We're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business," has haunted her. However, the full context of the quote was simply a proposal to create jobs and opportunities by fixing infrastructure and providing broadband access to West Virginia. Trump's promise to reopen coal mines proved to be unfounded when his Economic Council director admitted that coal doesn't make sense anymore. As president, Clinton would have been passionate about helping Flint's citizens suffering from the poisoned water crisis. Clinton's damn emails. Hillary Clinton's use of a private email account during her time as Secretary of State remained a sticking point throughout her campaign. However, every Secretary of State has used a personal email account since email use began, including General Colin Powell under George W. Bush. Despite this fact, the conversation remained fixated on Clinton's emails, with nightly television news spending 3 times as many minutes discussing them than her policy platform. This fixation made it difficult for Clinton's message to reach as many voters as she hoped. Ironically, her use of a private email account made her correspondence safer. While Pentagon, White House, and State Department servers have all been hacked, the server at her home was inspected and found uncompromised. In the end, Clinton regrets her decision to use a private email account, but the lasting impact of the scandal raises questions about the priorities of the media and the importance of policy-focused discourse. Clinton versus Trump, a battle of lies, hacks, and impropriety. Clinton's straightforward campaign against Trump was highly challenged due to his blatant lies and dishonesty. Moreover, the unprecedented hacking scheme by the Russians added an extra layer of difficulty to her campaign. Despite all the hurdles, Clinton's team brilliantly prepared her for the debates, and their efforts proved fruitful. During the email scandal, her government officials helped verify that using a private email account was not criminal. In contrast, Trump showed little concern for honesty, hence, PolitiFact called him the most dishonest candidate ever. The Russians' hacking campaign targeted Clinton's email account and that of her campaign chairman, John Podesta, causing the campaign great damage. The fake messages on Twitter and Facebook, along with the targeted hacking of election systems in over 21 states, made Clinton's campaign more challenging. FBI's misconception. The FBI's passive response to the potential Russian cyber attack before the 2016 election resulted in an unexpected outcome. Although the CIA warned against a potential threat, the FBI refused to take action and preferred not to unduly impact the election. However, later on, the FBI declared that Russia helped Trump after the election, which cast suspicion on their previous intentions. FBI Director James Comey released critical letters to Congress before the election, drawing attention to Clinton's closed case, which failed to show any unlawful behavior. This move brought backlash from Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who called it profoundly wrong and unfair. Nate Silver's data showed that Clinton had a substantial lead over Trump, which plummeted after Comey's letters and the circulation of fraudulent news on social media. These events ultimately dealt a blow to Clinton's momentum and altered the election's course. Understanding the Trump-Russia connection. The investigation into the Trump-Russian collusion during the election is ongoing, but there are confirmed facts. According to unclassified documents, the Trump team met with Russians and Trump's campaign advisor, Roger Stone, admitted to being in contact with the Russian hacker Guccifer 2.0. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, also met with the head of the Kremlin bank associated with Russian intelligence agencies. The Trump administration is currently sending encoded messages, breaking federal law on the open nature of White House correspondence. To avoid similar attacks on the democratic process, it's important to understand precisely what happened. Clinton recommended getting involved in politics and making a difference, starting at the local level, to break glass ceilings.
As Hillary Rodham Clinton shares her reflections and experiences from the 2016 U.S. presidential election, in What Happened, she emphasizes the importance of resilience in the face of defeat, raising awareness about gender inequality in politics, and developing realistic policies for the benefit of society. Throughout this compelling narrative, Clinton underscores the need for factual accuracy, sincere public service, and active participation in shaping the democratic process. As she concludes her thoughts on the past, she also looks ahead, encouraging individuals to resist, insist, persist, and enlist in their quest for a better world, starting with small steps at the local level and advancing change in the face of adversity.